All right, everybody, welcome to the Manatraders series. It's Corey and Ross here bringing you this grand finals coverage here. Scrooge just ended up losing this one, losing their first match of the day. Dom Harvey able to win one of them. So, yeah, this match is for everything. Yeah. Winner of this match wins $10,000.
We were playing a double elimination bracket today. So Scrooge, by virtue of coming out unscathed from the winner's bracket, gets the luxury of having a match to give, and gave it. Tried to get some blood moons down, stumbled in that third game, and now we got to play a whole new match, starting with a pre-sideboard game here with Dom on the play and unbeatable Grazer to start.
Oh god, unbeatable Grazer with a Regavan hand and Multi 5 here from Scrooge. Really not what you want here.
A Multi 5 depending on this turn 1 Ragavan, and Grazer says, no.
Yeah, this Regavan would have been excellent if, the Grazer was not there, because then you get to connect once and then counter draw it or something like that. But wow, yeah, that's about as bad as it gets. Unbeatable Grazer number 2, not as good. Probably going to see ourselves a nice little construct.
So now we got 2 blockers. Dom even insulated from a top deck removal spell here. And there's a Fireball Canal that is not going to do a whole lot. We see the Cavern already in play, has a bounce land to return that. Also has a second Cavern if he wants to name Giant with that one. So these counter spells not really going to be able to stop a threat from Dom's side. It's just a question of whether he can draw one.
And even the fact that these constructs are just going to be 4/4s, with the Amulet in hand, with finding an Amulet, Scrooge just can't really beat these constructs game one, because Dress Down is just absolutely not a card in the main deck,
Yeah, sometimes you see one of in these Amulet Titan, or is it Murktide lists, but Scrooge opting not to play that one. And yeah, these constructs are a really big deal.
Yeah, I absolutely hate when I see the Dress Down in there, but yeah. And as people have already seen, I got a cute little doggy, and that cute little doggy needs to run outside. So Roz, you got the mic now for a second. I'll be right back. I gotta let him out.
Amulet of Vigor cast, that is not going to do a whole lot in terms of generating mana, but will do something in terms of pumping these construct tokens. So I think Dom doesn't even really need to draw a threat this game. He has 2 4/4s already. So we might see one of them get taken here with this Archmage's Charm. It will become a 1/1 once it goes to Scrooge's side of the battlefield, because Scrooge will only control with a 1 artifact. But
all right, what did I miss? The dog is successfully outside. So now we just need reminders that the dog is outside. Can't leave him out there.
Okay. It's a Summoner's Pact for Dom, but that is counterable. Cavern cannot protect the Summoner's Pact. Not a card you usually want to counter, because you want to force them to pay the 4 mana the next turn.
Yep.
But when they have Cavern of Souls, you do what you got to do.
Well, I can see this game has not gotten better for Scrooge, that's for sure. Dom looking great here. Just with this constructs alone, you really don't need anything else here. And trying to have some counter spells for those type of cards, excellent if you have the pressure to go.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, I think we can just call it. Give the man his monies. I mean, that is a Grazer getting busy here.
This is what I would call a splintered twin.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, as they always say, either get busy grazing or you get busy dying,
That is something that no one says.
Will you stop saying that to me? Insult to injury, indeed. Absolutely. Love that.
Okay, a 10-point attack coming in for Dom Harvey. And Scrooge doesn't really have much, Maybe we want to charm the Grazer and chump block with it. Yeah, and then try to get this Ragavan through. But what he doesn't know, there's another Grazer chilling in Dom's hand, ready to come down and jump in front of the monkey.
Oh boy. Yeah, stealing the Grazer is something special here. Do you double block to deal with one of these constructs? Maybe.
Okay, we're going for the double block.
Wow, is this cute Grazer play actually severely backfiring?
Not really. It's just doing some things.
I mean, kind of, right?
Okay. Yeah. The option is chump block and try to get Ragavan going, or double block, and then you only have 1 construct to answer. Because Dom's mana situation is really awkward. He's drawn the Boros Garrison instead of a green bounce land. These caverns you need to bounce to start changing the types on them to cast what you want to cast.
Yeah.
So maybe trading with a construct is better, but Scrooge can't see Dom's hand.
Yeah, I think it's either way pretty bad. There's no.
This game certainly hasn't gone well.
Yeah, definitely has not gone well, but it's interesting because Grazer is about to contribute in taking down a 4/4 construct. I didn't think we'd be saying that in our grand finals.
Yeah, Grazer is attacking and blocking in the same combat.
I love that Dom's cute play truly got punished because he did it pre-com. I guess you have to do it pre-combat because you got to bounce it. Still hilarious.
And yeah, there's the second Grazer. That'll put in the garrison. We'll probably bounce the cavern that is tapped. No, okay. Wants to bounce the Slayer Stronghold.
Okay, keeps that land in play. Murktide Regent. Yep, looks like it's just expressive iteration time.
Murktide not doing a whole lot with this relic munching on the graveyard. There's an Unholy Heat that is not good enough to take down the construct.
Unless that relic gets popped to just draw a land, I guess that's still not necessarily that important right now. So probably going to see that relic stick around, but something that could come up. Also getting rather close to Delirium now.
Draw off Bauble in the upkeep. Another Archmage's Charm. So that can take the other construct and nominally stabilize this battlefield, but look at the draw from Dom.
That's a saga.
There's going to be more constructs on the way.
Yeah, no kidding. Urza's Saga is excellent here, and also you can just Summoner's Pact next turn, and if a counterspell is played to deal with that, sure, then make some constructs. If not, win the game with Primetime.
I do like winning the game, though one of those is still naming Beast, the Cavern, so we're actually short on green mana.
Oh, interesting.
They're both naming Beast.
Oh, God. Is Cultivator Colossus a beast?
I'm gonna guess
That'd be a good guess, but I'm not sure.
it is a plant beast.
Okay, of course. Didn't
Okay.
name plant. Okay, interesting.
Arboreal Grazer is a beast.
That's fair.
So I think we're just gonna see some more constructs, some more Slayer Stronghold action.
Yeah, and I mean, Scrooge is at 6 here. You know, I mean, just the fact that, okay, Simic Growth Chamber is an interesting draw.
Oh.
You don't have the second land, so you still can't cast Primeval Titan, but 4, 5, 6, 7, you can cast Cultivator Colossus. Uncounterable.
That's pretty good.
I wouldn't mind it.
Could also make a construct play Slayer Stronghold and give that new construct haste.
I like all the lines, and all the lines are pointing to Dom having a huge chance in doing, you know, kind of the unthinkable, beating someone where you have to just straight win 2 matches in a row in a matchup that we think is either relatively close or in favor of Murktide.
Yeah, this is impressive stuff. We saw that the game 3 of match 1 winning in a very unconventional way. And here we see the benefits of how he has built his main deck with 4 copies of Cavern of Souls coming up huge. And the Manic Relic. That is not something that every Amulet list has.
Yeah, not all of them.
And
for
this
sure.
has also been very important. Otherwise, like this Unholy, he could probably just take down the Colossus right now. So yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what happens with this Colossus, because it's kind of confusing for players that don't know a lot about it.
Yeah, so the key is that you have to realize that abilities from the lands that you put onto the battlefield won't go on the stack until after the ability is done resolving. So you kind of have to, you know, you put a land on the battlefield and then draw a card, and then you keep repeating the process. And then once you're done, then all of your triggers from the lands will go on the stack, and you're able to actually order them however you want, regardless of what order you put the lands onto the battlefield, because all the abilities are trying to go on the stack at the same time. So
yeah, confusing card, that's for sure.
Yeah,
but powerful.
I see an Unholy Heat get cast. What is this Unholy Heat target? Are we like trying to hit Delirium somehow?
It's okay.
Yeah, there was Sorcery Artifact. There's no way. There's no Urza Sagas in his deck to be able to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hit Delirium.
There's no double type like that, and that's game number 1 of match number 2 going to Dom Harvey. And Dom needs one more game to be the champion.
Now it's Scrooge with back against the wall. It's been Dom back against the wall the entire time.
Well, maybe Dom's like going to fall apart now. You know, Dom can't handle not being back up against the wall here. So
now he's going to get uncomfortable.
Exactly. So any changes as far as matchups now? Like now that they've already played once, and now this Scrooge has kind of seen the game plan enacted of these kind of, medium X6 drops plan. Like, do you do anything different? Do you leave in more
There's not
removal?
much you
Like,
can really do. You're going to leave in the Unholy Heats regardless because they can answer Titans and Dryads.
yeah.
The Bolts aren't answering those big creatures regardless.
Yeah,
so,
Bolt, I think, is the auto, like, get out
Yeah.
of there.
So Bolts are not great. Pierces are not great. And you've got the 2 moons, the 2 dress downs. You've got the Force of Negation and the Subtlety. We definitely saw Scrooge bring in the Force. That being able to like tag an early amulet can be important. So really, I think you're going to see pretty similar sideboard strategies from both players. It's just a question of, can put together the best early turns. It's been early turns that have been important. When Dom stumbles, Scrooge can set up and win the game. When
Early
Scrooge
turns.
stumbles,
Hey, sorry to interrupt you. Early turns and a lot of mulligans from Scrooge. Holy cow! Like mulligan 5, a couple mulligans to 6. Like has not necessarily been Scrooge's luck so far.
Purple Ragavan hand gets mulliganed here in game 2, and we keep a 1-lander again, but with 2 baubles in it, should be able to find some more lands. Those are also going to fill the graveyard quickly for this Murktide region, and then we've got a counterspell up. That is a Gemstone Cavern start from Dom Harvey.
How many of those do we even have? We got 1. Yep, checks notes.
How many
of
do you
course.
need?
Yeah, I'm on the draw.
Yeah,
it's legendary.
We've got the basic forest to help play through moons. We got a Cavern of Souls to help play through counterspells. We got a bounce land to return the cavern after we Dryad on turn 2.
And of course, the one game where Ragavan would just look incredible. Not there, of course. No Graze or anything like that.
Should have kept that first hand.
Yeah, maybe sided out the Ragavans.
So both baubles get popped here. Digging for lands. There's a Fiery Islet. That'll help. And there's this Firebluff Canal. So Scrooge now all set up on lands. Just going to be, it's going to be a question of whether these counterspells even ever matter.
Yeah.
Dom doesn't have a Primeval Titan, but does have a Wormcoil Engine. Multiple caverns, the ability to reset with a Boros Garrison on at least one of them. So that's 3 threats that you can potentially cast uncounterable.
That seems problematic. You know what I would like to see if I was Scrooge here is, once again, one of those Blood Moon effects.
That said, here, we're going to be able to turn 2 this Murktide.
Wow.
I think it's going to be a 5/5.
5/5 on turn 2, not bad.
So that's great pressure. That's a good start.
Yeah.
But it is also going to mean, I guess we have 6 in graveyard, so we can leave a bauble to help towards Delirium.
All right. I mean, turn 2 Murktide does not happen often. It used to be these Murktide lists played, what was it, Thought Scour? So you could, mill 3 cards. And then there was a scenario like 2 fetch lands, 1 Thought Scour, turn 2 Murktide. They have since gotten slower and more removal focused. Some of them playing the 8 removal spells, all Bolts and Holy Heats. Some of them playing DRC, some not. But yeah, none of them playing Thought Scour. That's the agreed upon card to cut.
Interesting here. We could have played Cavern of Souls into this Dryad, then played Forest, then played Grazer, put in Garrison, bounce a Cavern. I guess we can still do that by naming Cavern on Beast.
No, you can Cavern on Wormcoil and then just tap Cavern as a green mana with Dryad and play Grazer, right?
Yeah, okay, yeah. So yeah, we don't have to name Beast. So yeah, this is still fine.
Because you want to name whatever Wormcoil is, right?
Well, we're gonna bounce one. I think I would name Giant here and then bounce the one on Dryad, and so they maybe think you're primevaling them when you're actually Wormcoiling them.
Yeah, but here's the one thing I'm noticing. I don't think Scrooge can beat either one of them with this hand, So, like, what are you gonna do here against the old Wormy Coil?
I think if we can get Delirium quickly, and that Consider will help as well, an Unholy Heat could buy us enough time.
Yeah.
Though there's also a chump block with the Grazer, so that's 1 extra turn for Dom.
Incredible. Things looking pretty good for Dom if Wormcoil is going to indeed be enough.
So I believe we bounced the Cavern that was on Dryad. What is the one that's in play now on? That is on Worms. So we've kind of shown our hand. Dom's hand is basically face up at this point.
Yeah. Or it's a really, really weird name, but.
And not sure what the draw was here from Scrooge, but I imagine this turn will start with a Consider. Ooh, I guess we drew Iteration. Oh, Shredder. Okay.
Shredder, okay. So it looks like Wormcoil is going to hit, and we're going to need to find some weird combination of Dress Down and Removal Spell, or get Delirium and be okay with the fact that, they're just going to get the 2/3/3s.
Is that another consider bind off the surveil? And then we drew to a counter spell. We discarded
Liking.
Ragavan to the connive, so Shredder gets a counter, and we get another type closer.
There's Valakut, which will deal 3 damage as well.
3 not enough to take down either of the creatures.
Yeah. But still 3 damage mixed with play a Worm Coil, 3 to the face. Well, you can attack with Dryad first. Probably should have did that, right?
Yeah, start with an attack for 2.
Mm-hmm. Before you play any lands, you probably call their bluff. It's within Dom's range to just pull a bluff there, but now you kind of miss out on 2 damage. Not the end of the world, of course.
Yeah, that was a very free attack.
Yeah. Here comes the worm.
And yeah, we're gonna need to find something pretty quick here.
Hey, what can we find? Dress down. That's big.
So
I mean, that answers it straight away.
Yeah, we could just play Islet past the turn.
Yep. Double block, play dress down, lose Murktide. The thing is, you can even play dress down and then, decide to block or not. Oh.
Or are we going for a race potentially?
Is this race successful if you dress down to prevent lifelink? Not really. Unless you find a removal spell.
Well, hold on. So there's no Cavern on Dragon. So that's counterable.
Okay. That's fair. That would have been absurd.
Yeah. It is a dragon spirit.
Okay, there's dress down. Iteration is found.
So now Scrooge falls to 6. Gonna cast this Kura, and it'll get countered, but you'll take 1 from the Islet, go to 5.
Yep.
But now, I guess if we iterate, that'll get us to Delirium, but iterate into like an Unholy Heat, discard a spell is only 8. If we could iterate into Unholy Heat Ragavan, and we need a 5th land.
Well, Delirium is probably set with dress down, go to the yard, right?
Yeah.
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 Bolt Unholy Heat, also possible. There's Bolt. So expressive iteration into a Lightning Bolt or an Unholy Heat, and it's GG.
And
you get a Connive.
Yeah, Connive. Oh my god.
Oh god. And this is just for, to go to a game 3 where this doesn't end basically immediately next turn. But I mean, what else are you doing? I mean, slam that iteration and let's see what's up.
Gotta go for it. Here. Oh my. Okay, iteration.
See what we find.
Is there, I guess, like another dress down maybe, but then you're still in blocking mode. Yeah, it's really just about finding red cards.
And I'm guessing we didn't find it if we're pausing this much.
We could also find land Ragavan. Land dash Ragavan, discard counterspell to connive, bolt the Arboreal Grazer, gives us 11.
Yep.
Or no, gives us exactly 10.
That is very true. Okay, considered a hand is probably a bad sign.
Yeah, that can't be good.
Ragavan. Oh, so they were maybe just a land short?
Yeah, I couldn't get the land with the Ragavan.
Oh, wow.
And now, yeah, you consider here. And
I still see a line for lethal for next turn. You can go Ragavan and then say go. Block Ragavan to Wormcoil and then throw in Ragavan.
Yeah, just attack with the Murktide this turn.
I would attack with Murktide and Shredder. Why not?
No.
You lose to a land, I guess.
You got to block the Dryad or you lose to a land.
Okay. Well, then that doesn't set up lethal next turn.
They're 10. The Murktide's lethal in 2 turns.
Yeah, but you get to block once.
Oh, yeah.
With the Grazer. So cast dash and goes for the land. Connive into land? If not, dead?
Very aggressive play.
What is it? This could be the difference.
And it needs to be a red source, so no island will not work.
It's Spirebluff Canal, like assuredly. Just kidding. Okay, we don't know it unless it was another counterspell. Otherwise, it didn't update, but if it's another counterspell, That and Ragavan and Chump Block with Shredder, they get to gain 6.
That is not gonna do anything good. Yeah, they went for it.
And now they're also dead to a land. I like the go for it though. The respect. Because it looks pretty murky, very Murktide. With that line I was suggesting. It's the safer one. I mean, hindsight's 2020. If they knew the land wasn't there, they would have played Ragavan and said go, you know, but
yeah, and if they just draw a land, they can destroy the Ragavan before attacking it now.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? There's a Slayer's Stronghold, and that is going to actually create 3 lethal attackers.
Is the Grazer coming in?
Grazer.
Oh, if you're going to graze last time, you better be grazing now, Dom. And it looks like Dom Harvey is going to be our champion, everyone. GGs have been declared in the chat. Dom Harvey is your Manatraders series champion after fighting back from a whole having to win 2 matches in a row against Scrooge to take it down with Amulet.
I'm going to count this as Arboreal Grazer dealing lethal damage.
I'm counting it. Yeah, we will definitely be asking Dom about this. So we're going to come back to us real quick, y'all. First of all, that was awesome. Thank you so much for watching it.
You can tell how awesome it is.
Yeah, no kidding. It was a lot of this from both of us. You know, a lot of Henry jumping around. We're actually going to take a short break, and then hopefully we're going to be back with a winner's interview from Dom Harvey and get a little bit of his reaction on just winning $10,000. So don't go anywhere. A short break and the champ. All right, everybody. Welcome back here to the Manatraders series. It's Corey and Ross, and we are joined today by our champion, none other than Dom Harvey. Dom, congratulations, my man.
I won. I did it. I'm great.
You did.
You did it indeed.
You did it, and you did it in style, man. We want to ask you a couple questions here. First, before we get into it, how many grazers have you attacked people outside of today? Because I love that the one time that you actually kind of got in there with a powered up grazer, you kind of got punished there. So was that was your memes becoming your dreams?
And I could have played around that too. If I just attack with the grazer and then pump it, I don't get blown out by the charm there. So that was my bad. I got too excited by the chance to finally pull off that line. But it comes up more than you think, actually. And you get into these weird spots where you just have like a bunch of random ramp creatures that don't do anything, but you have a Slayer Stronghold. And so every creature now is a somewhat serious threat.
Yeah, it was absolutely hilarious, though. We loved it. So, backing up to the start of the tournament, you played, this, of course, is a 3-deck tournament where you're playing Legacy, Modern, and Pioneer. Walk us through each one of your decks and a little bit of why you played each of these decks.
So, I played the Mono Red Prison deck in Legacy because I needed a Legacy deck, just wanted to be away from that dumpster fire format as soon as humanly possible. Was happy to pick up a single win and just then had to place my bets on the other formats. I think the deck is fine. I wasn't as prepared for the initiative decks as I probably should have been in retrospect and got paired against 2 of those.
I don't think anybody was prepared, to be fair.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the Legacy right now is Delver, it's initiative, and then stuff, just other stuff. Yep. And I thought the Mono Red deck actually is a little bit more proven. Like there's a better sense of how you're meant to build that. I thought it was better against some of the random combo decks that people might bring, like Elves, stuff like that in particular. And then against Delver, I think actually the Delver versus Initiative matchup is pretty close, whereas I think it's decently favored for the red Stompy deck. So that explains that choice, but no need to dwell on that. Let's talk about the better, happier formats.
Love it, love it. Okay, so what about we'll get to Modern and then we'll go to Pioneer, because Pioneer, you definitely did the majority of your heavy lifting. So yeah, Modern, you ended up playing Amulet Titan, which you just won with. Any particular reason to play that, or is just you played it so much you want to make sure to play it?
Yeah, it's just my default at this point. I think it's still a very powerful and pretty underrated deck, and really rewards that kind of mastery once you know the lines inside and out. I did actually try to stop being a one-trick and experiment with some of the other decks for this tournament, and just never really vibed with any of them, honestly. And so just decided to go back to Old Faithful, the deck I was comfortable with. Today, I misclicked into a loss against one of my Murktide opponents early on in the day, which then put me in the losers bracket, which then made me have to run the table in Pioneer, which I did with the Enigmatic Incarnation deck, which for my money, is the most fun deck in Pioneer. It's also the most kind of, I guess, enigmatic is a good word, because a lot of the top decks, they're kind of locked in, minus a few flex slots here and there. This deck, no one knows what the spell should be. No one knows what the mana base is meant to look like, and I include myself in that. And then you're a Yorion deck, so there are more slots to play around with, and you have this toolbox. There's a lot of stuff going on, and it's a ton of fun, and I think actually very powerful, especially against Rakdos. And you saw me, I think, just cleave through various Rakdos opponents on the day.
Yeah, we definitely saw that, and Rakdos is very popular in the Pioneer portion of the tournament, so a very good metagame call there. Now, you mentioned that you had a rough start in Legacy, and that was a format you wanted to avoid. But with Legacy coming early on in day one of this tournament, you ended up back against the wall pretty early. We actually saw you in round 6 defeat Kane Reinhardt on our baby deck,
Yes.
Jeskai Breach.
Yeah,
when
the only modern deck, of course.
Yeah.
But
The actual best deck. So you would have finished in 0th place probably if you played that one.
I did, but we can look at the scoreboard and see who actually. Anyway, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, but you were 2-3 going into that round, which means you needed to win the last 4 rounds of day one just to make the second day. You took your one loss that you could take in the double elimination bracket in the second match that you played today. So by my count, that's about 10 or so matches that you have played in this tournament where if you had lost any of them, you go home.
And
are you comfortable? Are you comfortable with those kinds of matches? Do you approach them a little bit differently? Or is it just more business as usual and hope I come out on top?
I'm not sure. I don't think psychologically I get affected too much by the pressure of elimination, especially online, actually, more so than in paper. In paper, I think for whatever reason, it feels more kind of imminent, whereas online, it's just like another match and we go through it. And to be honest, after the Legacy portion and then picking up that loss in Modern, I was already kind of counting myself out a little bit, but we'll stick it in. We have a third loss to give, but wasn't too optimistic about my chances. And so I think when I get in that mode, maybe my play suffers a little bit, but I think feel the pressure the way that a lot of people do.
One thing as far as one of your plays specifically that I want to bring up, it was probably the highlight of the whole day, and that was backing you up into Pioneer here. You were playing up against what was it up against?
This was against the Lotus Field.
Yeah, the Lotus Field deck, where Supreme Verdict was searched up for them, and you had to find a way to blink out your creatures and blink them back into play at your opponent's end step, get the Bitter Reunion, give your creatures haste after you play a Fable. Walk us through a little bit of that line. Did you see it like right away? Because I know that turn took a while, and we were calling it, but it took us quite a while to figure out that line as well. But it was incredible. So tell us a little bit about that.
Lines like that can come up a decent amount. So some lists of this deck have a main deck Yorion along with the companion one, and then you have your Glasspool Mimics. And so those lines of setting up these Yorion loops where you want one Yorion to come back in your own end step so that you can flicker stuff out in your opponent's turn comes up mainly against the control decks with a Supreme Verdict or a Sanction Event. But also, it actually is a very common line against Lotus because, especially now, thanks in part to Kane, who kind of pushed these lists in that direction, a lot of them have a main deck sweeper effect. And so in game one, you can just get the Arcanum to play it off, and that actually is good enough if you can clone it or back it up. After sideboarding, and when they have access to that sweeper, it gets a little bit more tricky. And so what you need to try and do is force them to spend their turn sweeping you away in a spot where that doesn't leave them enough left over to then combo off, and then have stuff come back in from that Yorion trigger on their end step. So I actually did that against Lotus at the regional championship, where also played this deck, lost my top 8 winning in there. And just against Lotus, like that, against Lotus in particular, if you play that matchup a few times, it does actually come up more than you think.
Yeah, because that matchup is rough, right? Like it seemed rough on paper. Yeah, seems super rough. And those Yorion loops come up even when you're just trying to draw a bunch of cards, flicker out Nylea's presence a couple of times. You know me, I'm a Yorion lover as well. And every time you're playing some busted Yorion deck, some Yorion Fires deck, I've hit you up multiple times like, hey, Dom, like, what deck are you playing? Should I play this? And I'll always play some deck that is maybe better at the time in my head, like a Phoenix deck or mono green. I do bad, and then you play the fun deck and do well, and it's like just the ultimate jealousy from me basically every time.
Yeah, I do think that Fires with Companions is one of the most powerful things you can do in Pioneer, and so, and we've seen that with Karuga most recently. We've seen it with Yorion too. That's just a fundamentally very powerful interaction, and so even with the Orion decks, you have like the Transmogrified deck that I played a while back. You got the Incarnation deck. I think it's just a very powerful core to build on. The question then is where do you go from there?
Love it. Love it.
So just talking to you for these few minutes, it seems pretty clear that you were much more excited about your Pioneer and your Modern decks over Legacy, but it also seems like those two decks share a commonality where the Incarnation deck and the Amulet Titan deck both have very puzzle-solving kind of lines in them. They both contain different toolboxes. They're both very malleable decks as a result that you can adjust. Are those the kinds of strategies that you are attracted to, that you like to play, across different formats, regardless of the details of it? Or is that just sort of a coincidence that you landed on them both for this weekend?
No, you've
Basically,
definitely...
are you a mad scientist? Yeah.
Yes, you've definitely nailed my personality there, and those decks do exist in Legacy. You have, elves. I think the Depths deck and lands, which I played for a bit, fit that description too. But I'm definitely drawn to those decks, which are very powerful when they're doing their thing, but also have that flexibility where you can find these weird lines to get yourself out of these really tricky situations as well.
Yeah, you can cast Wormcoil Engine instead of Primeval Titan, just a different 6-mana card.
You cast a massive Chungus and you cross your fingers and you hope for the best.
Yes. Absolutely love it, Dom. All right, I'm going to have one last question for you, and then we'll let you go count your barrel of money in the bathtub or whatever your post-tournament ritual is here. Is you came back, you had to win 2 matches, you got it done. What are you going to do with your first place winnings, your $10,000? You get to come back next season and play in some of the qualifier weekends right away. You don't have to, or the tournament right away. You don't have to play the qualifier weekend. So what's the plan next for you?
Honestly, that might be the real prize, because you would be stunned how often I failed to qualify in those Swiss for those Swiss rounds in the gauntlet there. The number of times I've kind of forgotten about it entirely, tried to play my matches on the last day, gone 6-4 or something, and then thought, do I really want to play another 10 of these? It really grinds you down mentally. But that will not be a worry for me for the next few months. So that's nice.
Perfect. Yeah, the qualifier seasons, they can be rough. So that will be a nice thing to sit that out. Well, Dom, congratulations. This is our grand champion here of the entire end of year series. Dom, Harvey, I wish we had like some of that fake, confetti that we've done for other digital tournaments and stuff to shoot in front of your face or something like that. But instead, we're just going to have to send you a bunch of money and send you on your way. So Dom, Harvey, thank you so much for chatting with us. We're going to come back to the booth to send y'all home. And dab on him, Dom. Appreciate you so much, buddy. We'll talk to you later.
Bye, guys.
All right, everyone. So we're back in the room. We're back in the booth. It's Corey. It's Ross. It's Henry. We're bringing you the end of this coverage here. Henry clearly is giving Ross the stare down. Did he do good? Did he do good? Okay, I
thought so.
Yeah, I thought you did great. So everyone, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being here. This has been an incredible weekend. It's so nice to see Dom take this down in kind of heroic fashion, coming back to having to win the last 2 matches against someone's screen name that is loosely translated to Scrooge McDuck too. It's like just the most fitting ending here too.
It's everyone in the holiday spirit,
Yeah, huge congratulations to Scrooge as well. Ended up taking down a lot of money as well in this tournament, as well as all the players that made top 11. Couldn't do all of this without the fine folks at Manatraders. So thank you so much to Jason, our leader in the background, Adrian, who does all the stuff for us on the stream. Thank you to Ross for being here. This has been fun. Thanks to Henry for always interrupting the broadcast. And y'all, if you want to play in this series, next year, we're going to be coming back. We're taking January off to really get everything ready for the series. February, we'll be starting it up. Date still be to be determined a little bit, more than likely that last weekend of the month. We're on the move. That last weekend of the month, it is going to be Pioneer. So if you're a Pioneer player and you really want to kind of get ready, we'll have Phyrexian All Will Be One, I believe, coming in. I think that comes out pretty shortly. I could be wrong, though.
February 10th.
Okay, yep. So we will have that set involved. And you can get your loan program and start practicing. If you want to sign up and you're a new customer, ! Bash Bros in the chat. That code will give you 15% off your first 2-month subscription and kind of give you, a little extra money off. And especially if you're playing Pioneer, decks are pretty cheap. So you can get away with one of those lower tiers and kind of rent whatever deck you want.
Yeah, you can,
Yeah.
even rent a little enchanties and try to become the puzzle master like our champion Dom Harvey.
No kidding. I think I might have to go play some of that enchanties after that.
Yeah, it seems
Those
like it's up
Yorian
your alley.
loops. Yeah, I mean, there's Yorians back there hung up on my little trophy banner there, if you can see them.
The ones that Henry hasn't
do
gotten
love
to
them.
yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's true, actually. All right, everyone, that is going to do it for us. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. We couldn't do this show without you. And everyone have a happy holiday season. Happy New Year. We will see you all for Manatraders coverage here in 2023. Peace.